everyone. Welcome back to the Hellbound Podcast. I am actor Michael Chan. You may have seen me in Star Trek Discovery, among many other TV shows and commercials. And I am back after a week off. Been a little busy lately, especially with my family. So I just need a little bit of time, but I am glad to be back. And my lovely co-host is...
I am Alex Blackburn, the creator of the Hellbound Horror Festival with Michael, and editor extraordinaire at the moment, because that seems to be taking up every spare moment of my time is editing. So that's what I'm
also
up
an
to.
incredible filmmaker in general.
Well, thank you very much.
You're
But
too
yeah,
humble, my friend.
it's great to see you back,
push.
Michael.
You need to advertise yourself. Let
I
people know
know.
how awesome you are.
Well, I do a thing called set up and shoot now, so hopefully I'll be talking about my own work and creativity and working with actors, producers, that kind of thing. So that's going to be a new avenue, and things are going to change for me slightly. So, which is all good, all positives. That's all we ever want to talk about, really, is positives. And then we'll talk about some negatives in terms of the films we've been watching recently. Some ridiculous things, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Well, let's start with a positive then. I watched Bones and All. It stars Timothée Chalamet and Taylor Russell.
I think I know. Is this the cannibal thing?
Yeah, it's the cannibal thing. So instead of reading the description off the internet, I'm just going to tell you guys that it's a story of a cannibal, young cannibal who ends up on a journey after her dad leaves her because he's not a cannibal and it's just too much. So she goes on this journey and ends up meeting a bunch of people, including Timothée Chalamet. And I'm sorry, I have to say his name like that because he has an accent aigu on his E, his double E at the end of his name. So Timothée Chalamet. But yes, she meets him among other people, and it's not. So I liked it. I liked it. It's like it's a road trip, coming of age, uh semi horror. It's horror, but more horror adjacent most of the time. It's almost like a romantic drama, but it's also like an analog for queerness. It's set in the 80s. uh AIDS is briefly, just very very subtly mentioned at one point. Um so yeah, like cannibalism is used as a metaphor. The experiences that are the lead is actually Taylor Russell Marin, not Timothy. She's the lead, and it's talking about her experiencing of accepting herself and accepting what she is, which again, it's an analog. The film's beautiful. It's absolutely stunning. The acting is top notch. It also you have this uneasy feeling the entire time, and it's not because of the cannibalism. And by the way, they barely, there's not a lot of that. It's, I mean, it's there, but it's not gross. There's isn't like crazy gore or anything like that. It, oddly enough, I'm going to say artistic cannibalism. uh, oh Lord, it's an art film. It feels like an art film, but there is some more aggressive horror elements near the end.
Okay.
But regardless, I mean, it's a horror film. It has to go that way eventually. It feels very much like some of the stuff that my company, Psychopomp Dreams, does, where we deal with a lot of the character development, character work, drama, tension, and then the horror really comes to a head at some point, right?
Yeah.
So that's what this is. This is and the kind of thing that my company, my own production company, aspires to make. Um, Now, I will say that it's not for everyone. My wife Jessica, she did not like it, and it actually bugged her for a few days afterwards. Like, it really really disturbed her, and not in a good way. And it's not like she's afraid of it or anything. It's just
Sorry about
it
that.
is, it's all right. Amidst the drama and the romance and the trip, like the road tripping and all these, and like metaphors and stuff is, and artistry is, for the entire thing is a sense of uneasiness.
Yeah.
As a queer person myself, I identify with it. I understand, because it's not, coming to accept oneself is not an easy thing. It's a very uncomfortable thing most of the time for queer people. And I think this movie did a spectacular job of invoking that feeling. But it could, if you don't have a basis to understand that, or if there's other things going on with you, you might not actually appreciate that feeling that it gives you,
Yeah.
and it could just go the other way to, like, yeah, I don't know, I don't think this is for me. It's not like she hated it. It's just that this is not for her. It's not a film that my wife will ever watch again. Whereas for me, I love it. I'm in love with this film. It's I would watch it again. So it's one of those. I do recommend everyone give it a watch, though. I think it's an important watch. The messaging is very strong and very poignant and very relevant, especially at this point in history in 2023, with especially the insanity going on down in the US with all their bills being pushed and all the cultural fighting over LGBTQ issues and trans rights and all that, and women's rights, really. Um, just all of this stuff is so relevant for this time, and so poignant and so powerful. And I think everyone needs to watch this, because it really, it deals with this kind of thing without explicitly saying it's that. And maybe by watching something like this, something that's metaphor, it allows for better understanding and acceptance in the end.
Was it with Jess's kind of reaction to the film or not being a fan of it?
Mhm.
Was that purely, do you think, down to the execution of it or the tone?
I think because it is, she loves slow burns, and this is a slow burn. But I think because they drew out the uneasiness so far,
Right.
and to be clear, cannibalism is something that Jess is really not into. Just to be clear, like, she's not into that. Like,
Yeah.
that type of horror is not her thing. Oddly enough, zombies are okay, cannibalism not.
Yeah.
But I understand that zombies are technically monsters, whereas cannibals are us, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely. And justifying it and
but like, the difference
yeah.
between this and that, what was the one that's on Disney Plus?
Oh, is it
Fresh?
yeah, with Bucky from Captain America.
Yes. Oh, my brain's not working, but yes. That movie. So she did enjoy that, but that one's like, it's kind of thriller horror cannibalism.
Yeah.
This one is artistically pushing you in a very tense and uncomfortable situation, where no matter how good things are going, you always feel like there's something wrong and something's gonna go wrong.
Yeah.
That makes sense?
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
And
Yeah.
the way it's executed, this tension, this feeling never leaves the film. It starts right at the beginning
Hmm.
and it goes straight through. You will never have a break from it. And that is not for everyone. Not everyone can appreciate or like that kind of film, where this uneasiness is so pervasive. But for
Yeah.
me, I think I like it because I think this is exactly what this is. When as a person trying to accept yourself, because uh it doesn't go away, right?
Yeah.
There is always that uneasiness behind you. It's always there, and it will always be there unless society changes enough for it not to be.
No, I absolutely love kind of the sound of this and the tone, and I'm a big fan of slow burns. I think you can really enjoy a film and never watch it again. So you can watch a film, really get something from it, but with that uneasiness, you may never watch it again. But
Yeah,
that
but
sounds
again,
really
it's not for
fascinating.
everyone. Like, not everyone watches movies
Yeah,
for that, or maybe not in the mood for that.
yeah,
Um, you, I think maybe, I don't know. Like, I'm not gonna speak for her, but it could be she wasn't ready for something like that, or whatever she expected from it. But like at the end of the day, she was made uncomfortable to the point. And again, it's not uncomfortable at the idea of queerness or anything like that.
Yeah.
It's the execution of the film and the way it was
Mm.
presented made her very, it disturbed her. And yeah, like she couldn't sleep properly or anything, and that's not something she wants to go through again
Yeah, definitely not.
with a film,
Yeah, sleep is so
whether
precious.
it's this one or something like it. Whereas it didn't bother me like that. It made me think a lot, and it resonated with me because of the struggles that I've had with my own identity, and trying to accept all of who I am, and all of what I am, right?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
um yeah,
It's
so
great
that's
to
Bones and all.
it's great that you got so much from it. I really kind of dig that. And it, the kind of, I would say, the struggles you're going through with your own identity, it's fascinating to, it kind of gives you a great way to reflect on that when you see something like this, a piece of art like this. And um I think obviously that's the intent of the film. And it's great that it's set during the 80s. And I'm surprised that the kind of AIDS isn't kind of leaned into just a little bit more, because of the fate nature of cannibalism, and sharing blood or whatever it is. So it's really fascinating. I'd really like to see that and see how it's executed, because the director has got I think he did Suspiria, which I quite enjoyed, the remake. So yeah, I quite like to see that. um what time of
Yeah,
day did you watch it? Was it in the
right.
evening, or what time of day
It
did
was
you
in
watch
it
it?
was in the evening. I mean, we we can't watch movies during the day. We have kids.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
fair point. Yeah.
yes, the Suspiria. Yes, that's what he did.
Yeah,
Um,
that's great. That's really
it's
great.
just, yeah. I don't know. I feel like if you lean too much into AIDS, it might take away from the messaging. Just
Yeah,
especially like,
yeah.
how are you gonna? I understand, like, if you're a cannibal and you eat someone who has AIDS, you can get AIDS. But the thing is, like, the cannibalism is the queerness, and like, back in the 80s, like the whole scare with the AIDS scare, where they blamed gay people for it, when anyone could get it, right? From
Yeah,
anyone.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Blood
that's
transfusion, whatever. Yeah, absolutely.
but that I think the subtle dropping of the fact that AIDS did exist, it is like hint of the time period, and also a kind of like very subtle nod to what the cannibalism is trying to represent,
Okay.
instead of making it an overt thing. Because yeah, no, I don't think the leaning into the AIDS would have actually helped the messaging, because this
Hmm.
is really about uh there's stuff I'm trying not to say because I don't want to spoil anything.
Right, I see. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, would you recommend it?
Oh yeah, I would recommend it. My wife won't, but I will. And my best friend, Katisha Shaw, would also recommend it. So
Oh, brilliant. Okay, so we'll put some artwork out from that, I think, as some posts. I think we'll do the same with the epic New York-based movie I'm going to recommend from 1982, and that is Q The Winged Serpent, directed by Larry Cohen. So he's got a
mm-hmm.
reputation for kind of schlocky films from that kind of period.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to read the very short description from IMDb. It is about a New York PD, NYPD detective, Shepard and Powell, who are working on a bizarre case of ritualistic Aztec murder. Meanwhile, something big is attacking people of New York, and only greedy, small-time crook Jimmy Quinn knows where its lair is. Um, I I was like, this is terrible. But as soon as you as soon as you watch this, as soon as you get into it, and you know straight away, I think the same thing with the film that you recommended. You know the kind of film you're going into probably within the first 10 minutes or so. Would that be
Okay.
fair? Would that be a fair assessment? When you watch this, you know it's kind of schlocky. You know, it's that kind of movie.
Just from you describing it to me, I'm already like, this is. The question is it so bad it's good, or is it so bad it's bad?
I think it's so bad it's good, but the worst thing is the way they try and tie in the murders and the Aztec ritualistic stuff with the creature, with the monster.
Right.
And
I mean, the poster is epic.
yeah, the artwork is absolutely fantastic. And
Someone on IMDb gave it a 7 out of 10 and called it a low budget monster masterpiece.
and it has the hit and miss David Carradine from Kill Bill. It has some absolutely horrific overacting in it from Michael Moriarty, who played Jimmy Quinn, the criminal. And you got Richard Roundtree, who was Shaft in the 70s.
Right.
So the cast is pretty good, and there's large periods of it where it's funny, where it's brutal. It's got like kind of really obvious bright red blood in it. But I actually, Vicky and I watched this as part of our Alphabet Cinema, but I think we were quite entertained by it. And Q was a difficult one, obviously. We went for Quiet Place Part 2 as our second film. But yeah, one of the best things about this film is shooting on location. I think at the top, it looks on location. There's no kind of green screen in this part of the film, but it's at the top of the Chrysler Building, and I don't know how they got permission for this. Obviously, they clearly did, but it's right at the top. So the little arched window, because the Chrysler building's super iconic, and it's basically full of rubble and all of that. It's not a set. You can tell by the windows it's absolutely not a set. You could probably achieve that now with technology. But the safety must have been out of the window shooting this, the way they shot it around the building. It was it's a little bit King Kong. It's very low.
Looking at screenshots, it really
budget.
does look that way.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend this if you want schlock. But if you want something kind of like top of the tree, it's not great. And the monster's really awful. Really, really awful.
I'm sorry, just look at a picture of it.
Is this something you'd watch, Michael?
Yes, because I want to laugh. Did you know that David Carradine's half brother Bruce is in it?
No. Oh, that's interesting.
He's credited as the victim. That's it.
Oh, there's quite a few. It's probably one of the early victims. Basically, the monster comes out and it attacks people, and you'd only be able to see if you look towards the sun. It's a very strange way of some sort of weird reasoning why the whole of New York can't see, even though it's massive. And its nest is in a certain part of New York. It's it's really odd. It's got like two storylines running parallel that are supposed to be connected. But it's really schlocky. Some of the dialogue's funny, but yeah, it's I don't think
I'm gonna watch it.
You should definitely watch it. Yeah, if I'm gonna watch Birdemic 2, you've got to watch this.
Well, eventually you're gonna have to watch Velocipaster, and then
what was that one with the what was that one with the dinosaurs and the priest? What was that one you recommended?
Yeah, it's a priest that can.
That's the one. Yeah.
Raptor, and there is a Velocipaster 2 coming.
Oh God! Oh my God!
I would know. I kickstarted it.
You're helping support it.
Oh, absolutely.
But
I want it made. I'm terrible. I should be spending money on my own films, but no, I'm going to throw it at Velocipaster. No,
this is the kind of. What's the director of Birdemic called? Can you remember his name?
It was
because Q The Winged Serpent is what he would do with a bit more money. That's the way to describe it.
You mean $1.2 million? It's by James Wynn. That's Birdemic, James Wynn. So in 1982, which means the film was probably filmed in 1981, $1.2 million is a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's what, 10 million now?
Yeah, about that, yeah.
Right? So just imagine that. This is a current day $10 million film that you watch. Oh, that's a lot of money. James Nguyen would go all out if he had $10 million.
Oh yeah. He Larry Cohen, the director of the film, also wrote Maniac Cop, which I quite enjoyed back in the day.
Heard of that?
Uh,
Haven't watched.
yeah, and he's written episodes of Columbo, and he's got a very kind of wide-ranging career. Um, but yeah, that is Q the Winged Serpent.
Our social media. We do have social media. If you want to get more Hellbound, go to Instagram and find us at the Hellbound Podcast. If you want to be featured on our social media, for example, for your art, for your cosplay, for your music, or whatever, send us a DM to slide right in there. Also, please subscribe to us on your preferred podcast platform. We would love that. And yeah, again, at the Hellbound Podcast, Harness to Darkness.